Be calling you a radical. This is a real important historic video because sure as shit, Norm died of acute leukemia at 10 years. He got it the exact same time I did. We're the same age. And by the way, this is an important historic video, and because I'm going to make my what I call my Fukushima credentials if I go to Italy here next week. I don't know if they're going to let me in. I'm working on it. So anything that Norm would have said in the 90s would be tagged as hate speech. He wouldn't get anywhere. There's the old radio signal right there as they tore it down. College radio is dead. They officially killed it. So they would be tagged as hate speech. Anything that Norm said. So Norm died of the exact same disease as I have. For him to make the 10-year mark, I'm telling you, and well, I almost know. I've got 3 weeks. So, given 2 months to live, it'll be 10 years. So anything that his work, let's go back to the 90s. His work on the Clintons, his work on the O.J. Simpson trial was paramount. Would be tagged as hate speech. It would be hate speech. So, and then we're going to talk some salmon returns at this great Pacific Giant. So, Norm, Kevin D. Blanch, historic, that's all we got. That's all we hear all day, every day. The military industrialized complex. Go back to the 90s, Norm. Can you imagine what he'd had a heyday with this? When we had a First Amendment, we don't have First Amendment. When did that go away? 2001. That's called the Patriot Act. Mission accomplished. Now we're nothing but that. By the way, China has one. Japan pilot flew one in there. So it's not about defense. It's about beware of the military industrialized war pigs. So let's get to work on this. So this is my Fukushima credentials. As he got acute leukemia, I got acute leukemia. Mother Earth. Mother Earth, the Pacific, all got acute leukemia at the same time. So there's my aortic valve replacement card. Thank you, Dr. Connors and Dr. Clono, for saving my life. 6 hours he held my heart in his hand. My uncle from right here, right around the corner, the famous heart surgeon, trained Dr. DeFries, saved me from the grave. Thomas. So there's my Vax card, 3521. I should have waited and got it on 311, right? So got the J&J. So my Fukushima fish hooks right here in my jugular, my scar, my bullet wound I call it, my open heart scar. I've got 4 tattoos from where they lined up the radiation lasers on me. Abamel Denubo. OS. Norm making it 10 years, I'm telling you. Anybody that can make it 10 years with leukemia, wow, is all I gotta say. There ain't many. What an accomplishment. Heartbreaking. He would be pure hate speech by today's standards. 100% pure hate speech. So I'm getting my card ready. So the reason I'm doing this, and this is just a question. This is just a question. I know what my opinion of this is, but I'm going to ask all of you. So I misspoke at the game. I've been doing the play-by-play here for radio and television for going on 40 years. Neil McCarthy died. I'm the one that told the coaches he died. Standing to go in. Have to buy a ticket. Now, I used to have a press pass, but no, I'll pay. I'll pay. Because that's all I do. Let all these... Watch your mouth. So, don't get tagged for hate speech. So, I want to ask you something. Is Weber State University racist? Is Weber State University sexist? Does Weber State University discriminate against Asians? That's just a question. Now, let me lay out the case. I misspoke and said because they retired McBride's They're not retired. They put McBride in the Hall of Fame. Nick Chernus, and I'm all for Nick going into the Hall of Fame. And I want to say this because yesterday, are they discriminatory against people that have addiction problems, that are suicidal problems? And the reason I want to say this, and first off, I want to get out a call to Nick Vigil from here, who got a pick 6 in the NFL yesterday. I'm really close friends with Nick's incredible uncle, and there's a beast. And that incredible family of Nick's, the Vigils, Mark, lives here. Mark's amazing son is an Iraqi war vet who took his own life. I want to talk an athlete. Mark works with youth. That's all he does his whole life. You know, he's a big supporter of Nick. I love that guy. He's one of my favorite. And the reason I bring that up, because these coaches, I have no respect for any coach at Weber State football in its history till Jay Hill rolled in. I have a lot of respect for those. I have total respect for all the coaches at Weber State. Now, the athletic department, I have no respect for them. So, Nick had a pick 6. Nick wanted to play here. And his brother. They had to drive up and down that canyon every day to Logan because they wouldn't even give him a chance. This is a team that won 2 home games in 4 or 5 years. This is a team that got the death sentence by the NCAA twice. This is a team I stood right there when Bruce Handley, whose name should be up there, All-American football player in the 60s that donated his brain to the foundation that studies brain injuries after his death. What's the chance of turning this corrupt, losing football program, bleeding money in the 90s? We're going back to the 90s. I was standing right next to him. We were the #1 school business in the country. I taught there. I graduated there. A snowball's chance in hell. There's the snowball's chance in hell booth. I'm going to try to get Jay or one of the players to stand in there because this is a book published. Trevon Smith. Now they, of course, inducted Damian Lillard into the Hall of Fame. Of course. I mean, that's a no-brainer. McBride, I'd say no, but it's not up to me. You know, Nick, I say yes. Trevon Smith, right now, Josh Davis, who won the Jerry Rice Award, who won the Gatorade High School All-American Award, is 40 yards from 3,000 yards. I got news, Josh. You're still over 1,000 yards away from Trevon Smith. What? Trevon Smith had 4,000 yards rushing on this camp. All-time leading rusher in the history. In fact, by the way, I want a statue right here of Wildcat Morris, too. Wildcat Morris is from here. Superstar in the NFL. He played downtown. I was in the 20s. That's how old this football program is. Losing his program in the country till Jay Hill turned it around. I call him the snowball's chance in hell. Trevon Smith, McBride just pounded him. I did the play-by-play. And I want to say, he was on the campus. Kevin Blanch, Damian Lillard, and Trevon Smith were all on the campus at the same time. Damian Lillard never won a Big Sky championship. He was up by 20 points at halftime and lost the Big Sky championship. His fault? No. But it's just a fact of life. Trevon Smith won the Big Sky championship. By the way, this team's won it 4 years in a row. Trevon Smith had 4,000 yards rushing. 4,000. Oh, you know, a good job. Josh Davis, Gatorade High School Player of the Year in the country. Freshman of the Year. The Jerry Rice. You don't think that's saying a lot? Jerry Rice, probably the greatest player in the NFL in history until Tom Brady came along. The Jerry Rice. Frank Gifford. I got Tom Landry's coat on here. Get my Tom Landry coat out. He died of leukemia. That's old. He was a giant, Stephen Gifford. After 4 kids, Mormon boy from Utah, had serious mental issues after playing. I wonder why. I wonder why. I go ask Bruce Handley. I spoke with Bruce Handley, who was my boss, #1 school business back in the 90s. I saw Metallica play on this field in 1998. They played and played and played. We had a rainstorm that afternoon. That was on 9/11? No, it was on 9/8. 1998. Right before. I remember having such a bad vibe later that day. Mosh put on the field. They played and played and played. Everybody started to leave. Thought they were done. They played an encore for an hour. Over an hour. Then they left, and there was just a few of us there because everybody thought they were done. They went off for a long time. They came back out, and they played Creepy Death. I call it the Wattis curses, you know. This school has never won anything. They get there, they always lose the big games. Always. That's Damian Lillard. I did the play-by-play in the Enzo on the May game. They were big favorites in the tournament. You know, another fumble. I mean, the JMU curse, now it's the Wattis nuclear curse. Been going on for decades. Ask Dick Motta. Ask Phil Johnson. Ask the incredible, amazing Neil McCarthy, who passed away. Are they racist? Ask, do you know about Wat Masaka? Wat Masaka, born and raised in Ogden, of Japanese descent. 2 national championships at Weber College. By the way, it's still Weber College. They don't act like a university. They don't act like one. They used to. When Clyde Cooley and Bruce Handley ran the school business, not anymore. They, well, a disgrace to a college. Ask, okay? 2 national championships here. First player of color in the history of the NBA. You heard me right. First player of the 3 players off that team. Weber State went to the university. Arnie Ferentz from here. Vern Garner taught high school at Bonneville High School. First round pick in the NBA draft. That's Vern. Arnie's still alive. What? All played for the Lakers. They got rings. Those guys have rings. How about Fawn McKay Brody? First female dean of history in the history of the United States. The greatest female research PhD, well, the greatest research PhD in history from here. In the 30s, university professor at 17 at Weber State. What? They don't mention her name. Oh, it gets better. Huh. So do they discriminate? Do they hate? We used to be we. Now it's me, me, me. Wat Masaka. Fawn McKay Brody. No more freaking concerts. Or BYU North. What a disgrace. My auntie, they're going to name the English department after my auntie, who grew up in the same house as I did, who was Fawn's friend. Yeah, May Blanch is my aunt. Grew up in the same house. Thomas, who saved my life. What an incredible plan. Turn your back on me. What about Trevon Smith? Mariner Eccles, this town, the World Bank, that Mariner Eccles, the Federal Reserve's named after. When he died, left $1 billion endowment for the people of northern Utah for suicide, alcohol prevention. Where's it at? The Eccles family, these war profiteers, took their money to Park City and the University of Utah and abandoned it, where they made all the money. We have a suicide epidemic here. We have an addiction epidemic. Trevon Smith had substance abuse, freaking addiction problems. He got addicted to, I wonder why he got addicted to pain pills. He got pounded. You know how much pain that dude had to be in? McBride would run him 40 times a game. You couldn't stop him. He was beast. Started to have brain issues. Had all kinds of issues. Oh, they picked him up on 4th of July on 2019 at the homeless shelter in Salt Lake City. Dead in a jail cell. Rumor has it, they wanted to fight him. About 10 of them. My money was on him. Dead in a jail cell. Where was the NCAA then? Where was Ron McBride then? Where was Weber State then? The NCAA is a one-way street. The taxpayer pays for this. This is a public university. The highest paid employees in every state are coaches on sports teams. The taxpayer pays these coaches, including Kyle Whittingham. They pay them all. He's the highest paid guy in the state. Every single state employee, the highest paid, are university. That's their check comes from the United States taxpayers. The stadium built by the United States taxpayers. Elizabeth D. Shaw, the only female football stadium named after a woman on earth. Oh, and you leave them $700 million in the 70s. Huh. By the way, she was one great philanthropist. The hospital. So this is important. I'm just asking. Are they sexist? Ask Von McKay Brody. Are they racist against Asians? Ask what? Misaka. What? Misaka. There's the radio signal. Kilray College Radio illegally. Dr. Kevin Blanch. Do they discriminate against AML leukemia victims? Substance abuse, ex-football players, do they discriminate against them? Well, let's get real. Josh Davis, again, still has over 1,000 yards to pass. National Freshman of the Year. 1,300 yards that year. He's still 1,000 yards away. 4,000. Their all-time leading rusher in the history of this school. No one's even close. No one's even close. The greatest football player in the history of this field? So far. Where's his name? Not even, and they put a lot of people in that Hall of Fame, including the operations manager of the D Event Center. I'm all for her putting her in. You know, I'm all for that. You know, Nick Chernus is from here. 1,600 yards. Okay, I'm for that. McBride, I'll let you decide. You know, wasn't here very long. You decide. I want to say this to all you people that have gone along with the Fukushima cover-up. Where's your crown? Where's your crown when your crown king nothing? Where's your crown? Creepy Death they played in 1998. Boys have been one to Americana. Where's Metallica? Oh, there's the White Butterfly. By the way, that reminds me, got good news on Rachel Jordan down there in New Zealand. She's walking. That's the famous helicopter crash on the part of this post-ignorance army. You tell me, is Weber State racist against Asian descent? Ask what? Are they sexist against women? Ask Von McKay Brody. Are they discriminatory against ex-football players that have brain issues and substance abuse issues? Ask Trevon Smith. So, here's my Fukushima card. I'll be wearing it around my neck. I don't know if I'm going to go to Europe or not. We'll see if they're going to let me. Got my card. Got my vax. It's been a hell of a journey. Norm McDonald, back to the 90s, one of the #1 school business in the United States here, to the legendary finance professor Clyde Cooley, who died in 1999 at Mad Cow. Where's the statue? Where's your crown? Norm McDonald would have been tagged for hate speech for his work on the Clintons in the 90s, on Saturday Night Live, his work on the O.J. Simpson. You'd have never found it. He sure he wouldn't have been on there. It would have been hate speech. But that's back when we had a First Amendment. Before Google, I mean Joseph Grubel, took the field. Damian Lillard. For every one Damian Lillard, there are thousands of Trevon Smiths. Head injuries. The NCAA, anybody who plays in the NCAA, men or women's, at very least, the NCAA, that rich oligarch thieves. What a business model. For deposit only. Should at least give them mental health care and physical health care for life. For life. Every single NCAA athlete who ever plays one down on one sport. You tell me. Norm McDonald, Kevin D. Blanch, Mother Earth, the Pacific Ocean, all got acute leukemia in 2011. What's Fukushima? This is the university that built the reactors at Fukushima, Japan. This is Utah Construction, which is General Electric. Utah Construction is General Electric. This is their place. E.O. Wattis, 3 days after he got the contract to build Hoover Dam, died of AML, leukemia. Great journey to know. Norm McDonald, great journey. To make it 10 years with this disease, you got more respect than any professional athlete I will ever give. Anybody that can make this fight. You know, I almost know. 3 more weeks. Go ask Fimbo Peterson. Go ask Vincent Hansen. I was written off. You make 10 years with this? Get your card out one last time. Mark heart replacement. Split me open. Pour me out. There's things inside that scream and shout. Where's your crown? Where's your crown, all you oligarchs that have gone along with this? Where's your crown? Creepy death they ended with. I remember having Hanukkah died right after that. Everything fell to pieces. It was over. The old USA. Now America. Google is now Joseph Goebbels. To fight back intensely against the people that gave you AML leukemia, to fight back. That's hate speech. That's hate speech. The Nuclear Energy Crime Syndicate, everybody's played along the Fukushima cover-up. Senators, scientists are mystified, they're baffled, they're stumped, they're perplexed, they're bewildered, they're curious, they're alarmed, everybody's gone along. Imperialist media, vloggers, everybody's gone along. Where's your crown? He made it 10 years. Wow. Great journey, brother. Great journey, brother. To all the rest of you went along, when you crown king nothing.